says rotate your phone.
Oh, so it has to be.
Yeah. Hey, are you guys there? Okay. Oh, hey, Veronica. Veronica's watching us. Hi, Veronica. Oh, good, it's working. Oh, good, it's working. Okay, and I tried, hi, my friend Dylan. I tried to tag my friend Maria. Sweet Maria, if this doesn't work with you there, can I take this off and you leave yours on? Hi, Maria, I think what we'll do, because you have a special, unique story, is do a separate, this is what I'm worried about, my battery, is do a separate interview with you, okay, sweet friend Maria? We'll do a separate one with you. Our Zoom didn't work just now, so, hi, Veronica Bullard is watching. So I drove over to my friend Anna's house, and what I want to say about my friend Anna, and then she and I are going to have a nice chat, is, well, hello, thank you for tuning in for our very first conversations with neighbors. One of my heroes is Mr. Rogers. Did you ever watch that in growing up in Mexico?
No.
Okay, let's see if we can get both of us in here. Never Mr. Rogers, but have you seen him? Have you seen him since you've been here? Do you see the movie? So I just love Maria. Maria, I see you, Maria. I'm gonna do a separate interview with you next week. So what I love about Mr. Rogers is he just talks to everyone like they're our neighbors, and I feel like that's the most important thing that this group is doing, is forming relationships and putting faces to people and groups, and that's how we're gonna overcome racism, is just coming together and knowing people and thinking twice about grouping people as and stereotyping them as a certain race. So that's where we're coming with this Conversations with Neighbors. Hi, Anne. Hi, Melinda. Some of your biggest fans are watching Anna. So Anna is the strongest, fiercest woman that I know, mom that I know, and I've told her that before. She is a single mom of 3 awesome kids, and one of them happens to be my son's age, and so that's how we got to know each other. She works so hard. I will let her tell you some about herself, but I invited her because she's one of my favorite people and best friends. And so Anna, we were talking, I put a video on earlier about Latina versus Mexican versus Hispanic. So how do you like me to introduce you?
I mean, either one. I would fit in any of those.
So yeah, you actually, yeah.
I am Latino, I am Mexican, and I'm also Hispanic. Like I also speak Spanish, so.
I'm gonna move this closer to you because I don't matter. So yeah, the Latina part means you're from somewhere in Latin America. You're from Mexico, so you're Mexican. And the Hispanic part means you speak Spanish. Okay, so that's what I learned just an hour ago by watching a video. Okay, I'll put my mask back on since I'm talking in your face. So, Anna, do most people, when they look at you, what do they think you are or say you are?
Well, I mean, it depends. You know, I've been in different situations. As far as Lake Highlands, you know, everybody seems to be so nice and so, you know.
Do you think people
open.
look at you and think you're Mexican?
Yes, everybody, and everybody also thinks my kids are, but
yeah,
obviously they're, you know, were born here and they don't speak Spanish. My children don't, but
so they're in that group of people that are Hispanic, but they don't speak Spanish. So in other words, they come from a heritage of Spanish-speaking people, but they don't. Not all Hispanics speak Spanish.
I believe so. I
Yeah,
believe so.
yeah. So that is something that the people think that about them sometimes, and then they don't speak it.
Yes. I mean, a lot of people assume that they're supposed to speak Spanish
Right.
because they see me with them,
Yeah.
but just things didn't didn't pan out that way.
Would
so
you
they
be
don't speak.
comfortable if I leave my mask on and you take yours off?
Oh, sure.
That way people can hear you better. That's great, and see your beautiful face.
I don't know if
Thank you so
I don't
much.
know if I'm being too loud. Or
No, no, no. I think you
Less
need to be
people.
louder. I think you need to be louder. I'm too loud. So we'll tell everybody how we know each other.
So I moved to Lake Highlands, I think over 5 years ago, and MJ was the first friend that my son had, my son Jerry, and we've just been blessed since with Larry's friendship, and MJ and Jerry are very close, but they were one of the first families that befriended us in a very special way, like no other family really, especially Larry.
So, I don't want to draw attention to that, but you told me that story recently, and I feel bad that I don't remember it, but it stuck out to you because it was unique, and there are people in our neighborhood now wanting to do a better job at making connections. So what can you take from that story? How was it different? Because you had been around other families and other moms.
You mean when we met?
Yeah,
Yes.
when I reached out to you.
So we first, I think the very first time I met Larry, we were at these family picnic at LH, and hold on.
Okay.
And so I think it'd been maybe a few weeks since we started school, but we really hadn't made any friendships or any connections of any kind. And we went to the picnic, and really it was just us. Nobody talked to us. Nobody, except for MJ, and I think there was another friend that Jerry had, and I think he's left the school now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember his name, but so we were leaving the picnic, and we didn't talk to anybody. It was just us, and Lowry was coming towards the school, I think, to pick up MJ, or I don't know, and she immediately just greeted us with just love and acceptance. She didn't make us feel like what not everybody, but a lot of people make us feel like we're different, because it's really mostly white school. But she just treated us just so nice, and I didn't feel like she made any assumptions about me, and she also wasn't surprised that I was Hispanic, and that I spoke English, and that I was just a normal person, and she treated me as such, and that just made a huge impact. And we've been friends since, and it's very few people that you meet that they will actually receive you as just a human, instead of a Mexican or whatever it is that people think of when they see you.
So there are plenty of other people out there doing that, but I wanted you to get into that a little, because I'm trying to figure out what the difference is that you felt versus what you were used to feeling, because I think people want to know that. So I heard you say just that I wasn't surprised that you were Mexican. Like, that didn't catch me off guard. Like, my face didn't change, or like, what
Right.
do you mean?
Just your expression. You just looked at me like a human. You didn't feel. I didn't feel from you like I was inferior, or like you didn't make me feel like I was below you. You didn't make me feel
And of
Like,
course, nobody ever said those things to you.
No.
So how does someone make you feel that way? What makes you feel that way?
it's not it's not it's not something big, and it may not even be intentional. But what I feel from a lot of people is that, you know, they just disregard you. You know, they
Okay.
just, like, it's like they know you're there, but they ignore you.
Okay.
It feels that way. It feels
Or
that way
they
sometimes.
just greet you cordially and then move on.
if right,
Okay.
like in a very small way.
Well, I tell you, I think selfishly at that point, I had already decided for myself and my kids that I wanted to be intentional about about including diversity in our lives.
And you
So
felt that
I
way.
was
You
probably
felt
like,
that way.
oh, let me make a Mexican friend.
Right,
So
right.
that could have been part of it. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get to know you. But so that's my confession to you.
Well, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I guess it's a lot of just ignorance. I'm ignorant about things. You know, I live in my experience. You know, my experiences have taught me, you know, like, you know, how to live. And that's how I react to certain things.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's like to be white. I don't know
Right.
what it's like to be black. I don't know what it's like to be different ethnicity. But, you know, I think that I have a lot to learn. And if we make an effort to understand and
Yeah.
just try to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes, you know, that makes a huge difference. Like you said, to make like a very conscious decision
right.
of making an effort.
And getting to know someone.
That's not like you. Somebody
Yeah, that's not like you. Yeah, and seeing that there's benefit to that. And then if you happen to make an awesome friend like we did, then that's even better. So
Yes, it's usually good.
well, you know, something that of course made it easier for me to make friends with you is that you do speak English.
Right.
And at our school at Lake Highlands Elementary, there were kindergarten, pre-K through third, a lot of families that didn't speak English.
Yes.
And you know what? That is not their problem. That is my problem. I am the one that should have mastered Spanish by now. No, I'm serious. I do believe that is a barrier that we white Americans have put up and accepted for ourselves, but it shouldn't be there. So yes, I've started over and over to learn Spanish, and
Well,
I need to continue with it.
I think that, I mean, I don't mean to contradict you.
No.
But sometimes I think that the language is not the only barrier. I speak Spanish, and I'm not friends with a lot of Spanish-speaking people from our school.
Okay.
I just don't know. You know, we don't.
Well,
I don't
your
know.
children weren't in their classes because
Right,
they didn't
because
speak
they don't
Spanish.
speak Spanish. So one of the things that I was wanting to mention is that how Mexican people, specifically that know me, or Spanish-speaking friends that always give me a hard time because my kids don't speak Spanish.
Right.
Right. So
And how did that happen?
okay, so I was giving it some thought earlier, and whenever my kids were little, you know, I was married to a white person, and he specifically did not want them to learn Spanish because he said, I want them to speak English because they're American, and whenever they go to school, I don't want them to be those weirdos that I'm saying his words.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't want them to be those weirdos that nobody talks to and nobody knows about, that come from a different group of people.
Right.
and because he was born and raised here, I was not,
Yeah.
so I didn't know how things worked at school.
Yeah.
So he said if they learn Spanish, when they go to English, they're gonna have a weird accent, and they're not gonna be accepted by the rest of the group.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to learn. They can learn later.
Right.
So
that's just how it started.
so that lets you know that there is something else than just the language.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people, from our area, and even children say, that's that group. Like they separate the bilingual people who comes and integrates into our normal classrooms. They somehow separate them or put them in a different group or label as something different. And that's not something, I didn't connect the dots until now.
Wow.
But I mean, I feel bad. I feel bad that my kids don't speak Spanish now.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel bad that your ex-husband took control and made you feel that way. But
well, I believed them, but I did go with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving him all the responsibility. It's also me, but I do wish my kids spoke Spanish now.
I bet they'll learn.
I hope so.
Did they show any desire to learn?
They do.
Oh, that's great.
They're learning a few words here and there.
That's good. Well, I should say another way that we know each other, have gotten to know each other. We've been on a camp out together with Girl Scouts at least once, so we're definitely sisters since we've been helping girls that have gotten up and vomited or been afraid of the dark and all kinds of stuff in the middle of the night. So yeah,
lots of stuff.
Go Girl Scouts.
That's right.
So yeah, Anna has 3 kids. You've heard about Jerry. Do you want to say anything about your other kids?
Yeah, I have my oldest, which is Benji.
And he goes to the high school?
He goes to the high school. He's autistic. But he's a very, very well behaved child. And then I have Mia. She's going to 5th grade. Mm-hmm. She's my girly girl.
She's a spitfire.
She's something else. She's fearless.
Yeah, she learned from
me.
you. She's brave like you are. Well, so I wanted to ask you, when did you come to Dallas, or when did you come to the United States from Mexico?
It was about 20 years ago.
So how old were you, and why did you come?
Initially, I just came to like a church meeting, like up north. But then on my way back to, because we were driving.
Okay.
We stopped in Dallas, and we had our church here, so it was still church related, and so I stayed here for a few months, and then I met my ex-husband.
Oh, okay.
And then we got married. Like I didn't have plans to come and stay. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
I got married, and then just life.
Are you glad you're here?
I am.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of the memes that people put online saying,
Yeah.
you can go back, to where you come from if you don't like it here.
Right.
I think it's a good place, and there's a lot of opportunity, and people, at least half the people care.
Yeah.
And they're trying to do things to make things better.
And that's why, you work harder than almost anyone I know to provide for your kids. Tell us what you do.
I have a cleaning business, a residential cleaning business, and the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I've been doing it for 10 years now, and I was married.
Yeah.
The first 10 years, and I was just a stay-at-home mom. So
okay.
I just
and then you started that.
Yes, it took a couple of years to pick up and to really, get going. And
so this COVID has been hard. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. There's not much.
Well, one thing I think is just important, because people are moving on, not wearing masks, going about their summers, sending their kids to camp, and all of that is okay, but I just want to remind our neighbors that we do have neighbors like Anna who have been extremely affected, and so to be sensitive to that we never know who those people are. So Anna, of course, her business was affected, but she also lost both of her parents this summer, one to COVID, and just has been through a really rough time. So, and that's a hardship when you're away.
Yes, I guess it is a global problem, but whenever it is your parent, the one who who lives this earth because of these, whenever I think it was just 3 weeks before my dad died because of that accident he had, and then my brother got it, my sister got it, and I also had a cousin that died from it.
Oh,
it's
you
just,
did?
When it affects you personally, you see it completely different than.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see it on the news, it's just one more number.
Right.
But whenever it's happened to somebody so close to you, you know it's serious, and it sure doesn't feel like a lot of people takes it as serious as it is.
And so Anna, that was maybe one of the hardest things you've been through, is watching that from afar and not getting to be there. And your kids were a great support to you. I will say that is the first person. You were the first person I hugged. I hugged you before I hugged my mom. I had to break my rule and hug this woman. She has been through so much. Yes, Danita, she truly is a pillar of strength, and she is for her kids and for the community. So I just want to say, you never know somebody's story, right? And Anna, I got to read your father's obituary, and what you wrote. The beautiful letter that you wrote about him, and I read it to my family, and it is, I think, such a lesson about how other people live and where other people come from. Can you tell us about him?
So, sure.
Speak up.
My dad. So, my dad was. By the way, my dad was white.
Okay.
My mom was Mayan. So.
But he was a white Mexican.
He was a white Mexican. Right.
Just to add to all this confusion.
Right. My grandma on my dad's side was Spaniard. Okay. So, but so he was a baker, and I don't want to start crying.
He baked from the time he was 7 years old.
He baked. He started working when he was very young, and he was working until the very last day. He worked hard all of his life, and he always provided for his family. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, so.
And only went through what grade, do you think, in school?
I think he had to quit school when he was in second grade.
In second grade, right. And he started working to support his family. Mm-hmm. So that's just the kind of hard worker that you come from. That's so amazing.
And actually, he met my mom when they were children, because they lived in the same neighborhood, and then they ended up getting married around 20 years old, and they were married for almost 55 years.
And he was out. He was out looking for work the day he died. That's so amazing. Yes. Such a hard worker.
Yes.
And
well, he was old, so he didn't have a steady job anymore, and at least for him, there wasn't an option of retirement. Yeah. So he had to just go to different bakeries where they would be baking at nighttime for people who have to have, fresh bread in the morning, and he would just go to diverse places to try. And
I love that the bakery where he worked, they donated some of the bread to the family.
On his funeral, which was more difficult than most, because nobody came.
Yeah, nobody could go
because it was really just my brother and my sister. I couldn't go.
And your mom was in the hospital.
Well, my mom actually went into the hospital
Oh,
on the day of my dad's funeral.
oh my goodness.
Yes. So,
Oh,
so, so it was, but at least he got to have a funeral,
yeah.
even though it was small. But you know, my mom didn't, and
Mhm.
that's really hard
Yeah.
because it just
Because
They
she
just-
meant a lot.
she meant so much, and there was no proper goodbye. No,
Right.
you know, they have to bury them in a special way, and they
Yeah.
just send you pictures about it, but nobody can even be there.
Yeah.
And so that was difficult. That was very difficult.
And I mean, you know, there's the people that know you and love you want to do everything we can to
Oh yes,
help you
yes,
and support
yes,
you.
Yeah,
So that is one benefit of being part of this community.
yeah. Everybody that are my friends here in the community, those who know me and have helped out a lot, have helped me, especially you, Larry. Help me out a lot during that time because you know I didn't work for 2 months and that was hard. But you know everybody pitched in.
Yeah.
Here from Lake Highlands, all my friends that know me, everybody gave a little, contributed, and you know I was able to help out too and be able to just make it through those
Yeah.
months where I didn't work, and
Yeah.
also to help bury my parents
Oh.
that you know that I couldn't say goodbye to.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Well,
really
I
appreciate
want to ask you, okay, I'm going to change the subject, but I'm so glad you got to tell that story. But it reminds me of, we are talking about racism and how racism is whenever you group a whole group of people together and say something about them based on knowledge of one person. So one of the racist comments that I've heard about Mexicans is not a negative one. It is that Mexicans are hard workers. And I thought of that when I'm thinking about you and your dad. Okay, so tell me, what do you think about that? Is that racist? I mean, I think it is, but
Yes, it is.
does that hurt your feelings?
No. It's it's hard to generalize, especially because you don't want to do what most people do, right? To just say everybody from this country or everybody that looks like this is this,
Right.
But
So you got to call it out. You do.
but culturally, as far as I knew,
Yeah.
I don't know what the president has to say about it, but as far as what I've
Right.
known all of my life,
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old. Everybody that I know, everybody from my family, here and there,
Yeah,
are the just hardest working people.
right. Just to
We-
survive.
We take pride in working hard. Not, I mean, may not, you know, we may not even, you know, like my dad.
Yeah.
You know, he was not educated at all.
Right.
I only have high school,
Yeah.
you know, level schooling, but I mean, if you work hard,
Yeah.
you know, and you try to be excellent at everything you do,
Yeah.
you know, you're gonna succeed. You're gonna do good.
Well, I'm
And-
sure you've heard about, like, what would our country become if all of a sudden the Mexican immigrants weren't here one day, and it's like all
Right,
these jobs
right.
that are undone.
Well, yes. I mean, and this is a stereotype.
Yeah,
And
it is.
and sometimes it does sting
Mm-hmm.
when the shoe fits. But
Yeah.
you know, we Mexicans, some immigrants, not everybody,
Yeah.
obviously. We do a lot of jobs that nobody
Yeah.
else would want to do. Everybody, a lot of people. Okay, not everybody. A lot of people
Well, especially if you move here to do
are
that.
too proud to do things, to do certain jobs
Yeah.
that we do, and we're just thankful
Mm-hmm.
to have a job to do where we can actually make an income, you know, to
Yeah.
be able to provide for our families.
You know, it makes me think, oh, I don't know what you think about this, stereotyping in a making a generalization like that for a group can be a problem, because, you know, you have, you know, Mexicans, some Mexicans, some immigrants, not everybody, obviously. But, you know, a source of pride and something you feel like you have to live up to. Whereas if it's a negative thing, then maybe some people feel like they have to live down to that. You know, I mean, that just hit me that if it's something negative, then maybe it pulls you down, and if it's positive, maybe it pulls you up. But anyway, just something to be aware of, I think. Have you experienced some racism here in Lake Highlands? And of course, there's all kinds of like small things like you were talking about, just people not giving you the time of day.
Well, I think most of my life here, I lived in Mesquite, so I've only been here in Lake Highlands for 5 years, but it's very different. Lake Highlands is a really good area. I mean, if I've had bad experiences, mostly have not been here.
Okay, good.
But there's just, like you said, small things that I guess people who ignore how they may be affecting people like me that are a minority.
Right.
You know, do and say things that hurt you. But I think it's happened more in like stores or places where one time this was here in Lake Highlands. One time I was at the shopping center, and I walked in. I was looking for a specific perfume, and I felt like the lady that worked there was following me.
Oh, okay.
When I didn't understand why. Is that every aisle I would go to, she somehow would show up, like trying to like arrange something. Like,
okay.
But I really did feel like I was being followed.
Yeah.
And I just went about my business. I picked what I needed. I paid for it, but then I just kept thinking about it, and then I realized that maybe she thought I was gonna steal something.
Yeah.
And that's why she was following me, and
wow.
that didn't feel very good.
No.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, my kids noticed it.
Wow.
Those things the things like that people do.
Now, have you had someone tell you go back home?
Not to my face, no.
Okay.
It's just how these group of people on Facebook that just post things that
right. If you don't like
that
it,
are hurtful.
Yes. Which I've just heard the argument too. The people that are being said that to, like you, or like when I was at a Black Lives Matter march, they were even saying it to the black people I was marching with. Go back home, go back where you came from. Then, I mean, think of what a huge loss that would be to our country. Don't you want us instead to change it? And I think it was Myra that said how crazy that is. Like, you would tell your husband who'd been cheating on you, okay, I'll just
you don't like it, just leave.
Yeah, right. You don't like it, just leave. No,
Instead
you're
of
gonna
trying to work things out.
Or it's just crazy. So, anyway, but I do remember. I don't know I think we talked about this a couple years ago. After a lot of Trump's rhetoric, some boys in our kids' grade shouting at school, build that wall, build that wall.
I remember my kids
to a group of Hispanic kids.
Yes, that did happen.
Yes, and that was so upsetting. And I don't know that they knew how offensive that was, and how racist that was.
And see, those things, I can assure you, my kids were not in that group of people shouting that. I'm 100% sure.
Well, how did they feel about it?
They felt horrible. I mean, they felt bad, but what I was going to say is these things, especially to the